to tell Jessica something. Oh, no, you can leave it there for now. That's fine. So, if we can grab a seat, we're going to begin in 3.5 minutes. Martin, were you here for the speaker? You were? You didn't have like 15 questions? I'm shocked by that. Really? I just because nobody else was. Good to see you. What page are we on?
Half sentences.
Do we have any other solos?
Yeah, the one is the star. Yeah, at this point I'm just
David, is there a clear path that people walking all the way around back there? Just curious. Like, no, that way, in that direction? Yeah, people can get to that side, right? Not a problem. You're starting in 15 seconds. Oh wait, but I don't have a cantor yet. A miracle is happening. We're actually starting the afternoon service on time. A Yom Kippur miracle. Good afternoon, everybody. I won't mention things like pizza, coffee, and beer right now, because I'm sure nobody wants to hear those words. So once there was a priest and a rabbi from local congregations, and they were standing by the side of the road, pounding a sign into the ground that read, "The end is near, turn yourself around, be saved before it's too late." "Leave us alone, you religious nuts," yells a driver as he speeds by. And from around the curve they hear screeching tires and a big splash. And the rabbi turns to the pastor and asks, "So, do you think the sign should just say, 'Bridge out'?" Couldn't we all use a bit of clarity right now? Oh, how I wish I could find signs that say things like, "Handbook for caring for the houseless," "Instructions on how to fix our environment," "A guide to ending racial inequality and systemic racism." There are so many things that I would love to have a handbook or a sign for, so we could fix our problems so easily. But the signage isn't so clear even when the answer is. Or at least the answer isn't clear to everyone in most cases. And I know that we have many ways to fix our problems, but it always seems that, well, our government can never talk to one another long enough. And the sections of our government cannot come up with a plan that helps us on so many issues of great import. So I guess on this Yom Kippur, I'm not looking just for clarity, but I'm looking for some clarity and unity. Unity like our assemblyman mentioned earlier this morning. Because Yom Kippur is a day when we're given a chance to seek clarity and unity so that we can move forward. And I can only pray that we succeed in today's goals and then become one with others in our attempts to fix and better this world. In other words, to unify it. And soon, in just a few minutes, we'll be hearing the story of Jonah. And Jonah ran from his responsibilities, from his problems, even though he knew what he was supposed to do. But he ended up getting clarity. But it took him, to live inside the belly of a whale for the clarity to occur. So is that what we're going to need? To go into the belly of a whale just to get a bit of clarity? But ultimately, Jonah did take a journey and he transformed a society. And that's what we need right now, a society that is transformed. But before we start doing that, because that's a big job and I think we're all a little too hungry to do it today, we're going to turn to page 325 for Gesher Sar Me'od. All the world is a very narrow bridge, and the most important thing is not to be afraid. The words of Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav. Cantor. Join me on page 326. Let us read together. At this hour, Israel stands as one in prayer. All Jews on earth unite through memory and hope. A people unafraid, unvanquished, says to God, this people you have formed still lives to tell your praise, still lives to share this teaching with our youth. Our ancient journey has not reached its end. The faith implanted at our people's birth is realized from age to age, our sacred covenant. This people, few in number, ventured forth to carve a lovely path through wilderness, with dreams of vines and fig trees, justice in the gates, and the land at peace. And still we make our way across the desert. This people you have formed still lives to walk before you. Exiled once to Babylon, we learned the unity of God. A second time, dispersed by Rome, we learned that humankind is one. Hear, O Israel, the call still stands. Eternity is ever present in your midst, a heritage of sacred purpose in your heart. Your past tells a story for all peoples. Your future holds a promise still unfolding. At this hour, Israel stands as one in prayer. All Jews on earth unite through memory and hope. We look at one another and we know who we are. We look to our Creator and we know our strength. In pursuit of truth, this people lives, to serve the Most High for the sake of life. Behind us, pain and glory. Before us, holy work. Timeless words command us. Toward eternity we gaze. We turn to page 342. A poem about Jonah before we do our blessing before the Torah and then have our dramatic reading by Vanessa. The smell of salt water and bile clings to my tattered clothes. Who I have become disgusts me. Who I can be bewilders me. When I could run no more, a fish took me, isolated me, soaked me in the fluids that fill its guts, made me realize who I am. I wonder if the smell of hell, the smell of a life poorly lived, could ever be erased. So I wear these rags covered with these odors. They remind me to change, to do all that is holy, to take the right path, to head toward Nineveh. The blessing before the reading of the Haftorah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza b'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
We are on page 344 for the story of Jonah. We are honored to have Vanessa Kate here to recite this selection for us. Thank you, Vanessa.
And the word of Adonai came to Jonah. Get up, go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim against it, for their evil deeds have risen up before me. But instead, Jonah went down to Jaffa and found there a ship heading for Tarshish. He paid its fare and went down into it in order to flee to Tarshish, away from the presence of Adonai. The ship set sail, and Adonai hurled a great wind upon the sea, a storm at sea so great that the ship was in danger of being shattered to pieces. The sailors were frightened. They cried out, each to their own god, and flung the ship's cargo into the sea to lighten their load. The sailors feared for their lives and did what they could to prepare for the oncoming storm, but Jonah had gone down into the hold, the lower deck of the vessel, and he lay down and he fell into a deep sleep. The captain approached Jonah and said, "What are you doing sound asleep? Get up!" The sailors decided to cast lots that they might know on whose account the storm had come. When they cast lots, the lot fell on Jonah. They asked him who he was. He replied, "I am a Hebrew. I revere Adonai, God of heaven, who made sea and dry land." The men felt great fear, and they asked him, "What have you done?" Because the men knew he was fleeing from Adonai, for so he had told them when he boarded the ship. And they asked him, "What should we do to you to bring calm to the sea around us?" For the sea was growing more and more stormy. Jonah answered them, "Lift me up and hurl me into the sea, and the sea will calm down for you, for I know that this great storm came upon you because of me, and it would be better that I should die." The crew rowed hard to return to dry land, but despite their efforts, they could not do it. For the sea was raging more and more fiercely around them. They called out to Adonai, saying, "Please, Adonai, please do not let us perish because of the life of this man." And they lifted Jonah and they hurled him into the sea. The sea stopped raging. In thanks, the men revered Adonai, and they offered a sacrifice and made vows. Now out of the waters came a great fish, which swam swiftly, overtook Jonah, and swallowed him whole. Jonah did not die. He lived and was in the belly of that fish for 3 days and 3 nights. While there, Jonah prayed to Adonai, his God. "I called to Adonai in my distress, and God answered me. I cried out from the belly of the netherworld, and you heard my voice. In the depths you cast me into the heart of the sea, and the floods engulfed me. All your billowing, breaking waves swept over me. And I thought to myself, I was banished from before your eyes. Will I ever gaze upon your holy temple? The waters closed in over me. The deep engulfed me. Rushes wrapped around my head. I descended to the low point of the mountains. The gates of the earth closed upon me forever. Yet you, Adonai, my God, raised up my life from the pit. When my life fainted away, I called Adonai to mind, and my prayer came to you, to your holy temple. They who cling to empty folly forsake their own welfare, but I, with a shout of thanksgiving, I will sacrifice to you. What I have vowed, I will fulfill. Rescue comes from Adonai." Adonai commanded the fish, and it spat Jonah out onto dry land. As Jonah lay on dry land once more, breathing fresh air once more, beneath the sun and sky once more, so the word of Adonai came to Jonah a second time. "Get up, go to the great city of Nineveh, and call out to it the proclamation that I tell you." So Jonah got up, and at last he went to Nineveh as Adonai had commanded. Jonah started out and made his way to the city of Nineveh. He called out to the people and simply said, "In 40 days, Nineveh shall be overturned." The people of Nineveh heard Jonah's words, and they trusted them. They trusted in God, and so they proclaimed a fast. They put on sackcloth from the richest to the poorest, and word reached the king of Nineveh, and he himself got up from his throne, discarded his robe, put on sackcloth, and sat in ashes. The king cried out and declared, "By decree of the king and his nobles, no person or beast of flock or herd shall taste anything. They shall not graze, and they shall not drink water. They shall be covered with sackcloth and shall call loudly to God. Let all turn back from their evil ways and from the violence which is in their hands. God may turn and relent, turn back from the heat of rage, and if so, perhaps we shall not perish. God saw what they did, their commitment to turning back from their evil ways, and God relented from the punishment planned for them and did not carry it out. But to Jonah, this was a great evil, and it made him angry. Please, Adonai, he said, is it not what I said when I was still in my own country? Before I went to all the time and trouble to come to Nineveh to say the words which you commanded me. This is why I fled to Tarshish to begin with, for I knew that you are gracious and a compassionate God, endlessly patient and abounding in steadfast love, ready to forgive weakness and evil. And now, Adonai, please, just take my life from me, for it is better for me to die than to live. Adonai responded, is your anger so dear to you? Jonah stormed off and left the city. He found a secluded place to the east of the city and made himself a shelter there. Jonah decided to wait in the shade of his shelter until he might see what would become of the city of Nineveh. As Jonah waited, Adonai Elohim provided a gourd and made it rise up over Jonah to give shade for his head as the sun beat down. And Jonah rejoiced. He was filled with great joy because of the gourd, and he went to sleep happy. But at dawn the next day, God provided a worm that attacked the gourd, and it withered. And as the sun rose, God provided an oppressive wind from the east. And the sun beat down on Jonah's head, making him faint. Jonah begged for death, saying, it is better for me to die than to live. But God asked Jonah, are you angry about the gourd? And he said, I am good and angry to the point of death. Then Adonai said, you pitied the gourd and loved the gourd, which you neither worked for nor grew, which appeared overnight and then perished overnight. Should I then not have compassion for the great city of Nineveh, a place of more than 120,000 human beings who have repented? Where is your compassion? Why can you not love? Why can you not forgive?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik bechol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, ha'medaber u'mekayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום הכיפורים הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו למחילה ולסליחה ולכפרה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד ודברך אמת וקיים לעד ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מוחל וסולח לענותינו ולענות עמו בית ישראל ומעביר אשמותינו בכל שנה ושנה מלך עד כל הארץ מקדש ישראל Veyom HaKippurim.
I've been speaking a lot since the beginning of Yom Kippur about how we need to stand still before we can move forward. And this is a great example in the story of Jonah about how he was standing still and then he decided to move, but he moved in the wrong direction. He was supposed to head north to Nineveh. Instead, he headed south towards Jaffa and then Tarshish. And I was thinking as I was listening to Vanessa how often we do that. We know we have to take action, and we even know we're taking the wrong action, and then we fully commit to it. We move in the wrong direction. And we end up on a ship that is throwing us everywhere. And then finally we realize we have to get off that ship, and we end up in an even worse situation, in the belly of a whale. And then we look at what happens in that belly of the whale. Well, he's there for 3 days, and at that point he just wants out. If you look at that long poem that's in the book, he'll say anything to God to get out of that fish. And if you look closely at the Hebrew, that fish doesn't spit him out. That fish vomits him out. That fish is so sick with this guy who is running the wrong way, he'll say anything to God to get out of this situation. And at that point, though, he at least understands he's got to begin moving back to where he needs to be. And even when he gets there, he makes the prediction, as we know from our study of prophets, that a true prophet is a prophet who makes a prediction, and then that prediction comes true. Otherwise, you're a false prophet. And he gets there and he makes his prediction, the people repent, and so God does not punish them. So in many ways, by Jewish tradition, he would be considered a false prophet. But another line of thought would be that he was actually doing what he needed to do to help others, though he did not realize it. When you look at this, some historians believe that this could actually be a spoof, making fun of the prophets. Because during the period that this was written, there were prophets everywhere yelling things out. And then they didn't, come true and they'd run the other way. So the question is, how often are we false prophets to our own actions and to ourselves? How often do we decide to run the wrong way when we know what we have to do and what we have to say? So as we look at Jonah, we don't want to end up in that belly of that fish. We want to be able to head in the right direction from point one. So if you're standing still like he was, don't head the wrong way. When you begin to take action, try to get yourself going, the way you should be going. So if that's a lesson within this story, it's the lesson that when you begin your forward movement, head in the right direction. We're now going to continue with the Amidah. And the Amidah is found on page 356. We're going to rise, and in this case, we are going to do Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, and a bit more, I believe, of the Amidah. Am I correct on that? Nope. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, and then we're going to pray silently. If everyone could please rise, our silent prayer will go through page 410. We'll give you a few minutes to do that.
Satai Tifta
Pray silently, page 360 to 410. You may be seated when you're done with your silent prayer.
לשני בירה, שפתיי מדבר ממך. ליבי לפניך, אדוני, אדוני, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי,
We turn to page 416 for the Ashamnu. I'm going to ask you all to rise. We'll read these together in English, and then the choir will chant them afterwards. We take our hand, balled in a fist, place it over our heart. Of these wrongs we are guilty. We betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely. We are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander, we devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes, we are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill, we spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. For the long confessional, I will do the first line in Hebrew, and then we join together in English. Al checha tanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, and harm we have caused in your world through insincere promises. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, and harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through condescension. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, and harm we have caused in your world through the words in our mouths. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or neighbor. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by hating without cause, and harm we have caused in your world through hypocrisy. V'al kulam Elohai slichot, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu, for all these failures of judgment and will. God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. Top of page 420, we continue our confessional. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world through our thoughtlessness. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by profaning your name in public, and harm we have caused in your world through offensive speech. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through gossip and rumor, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through narrow-mindedness, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by betraying trust, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice. V'al kulam Elohai slichot, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Oh
You may be seated. We're going to begin our meditation service in about 2 minutes, so make sure you're comfortable in your seats. But we're going to take a 2-minute break. The meditation service is a quiet service. If you don't have the ability to be quiet, you might want to step outside. If the choir is stepping out during this service, please do it quickly so we can begin our meditations. After the meditation service, we'll take a 2 or 3 minute break, and then we will move into Yizkor. Lindsay, do you know how to put up a little tag that says meditation service so it's tagged at the bottom? Okay. If you can't, no big deal. If everyone could grab their seats, and we're going to begin now. You should close your books and put them to the side. No books are needed. Yeah, it's just on the bottom. This is. We're learning to use our AV system, so forgive us. Let's take a moment of silence. And Jessica and Lorene, now's a great time to keep people out of the hallway if they're noisy, and people want to come in just to come in quietly. I wrestled with God, and I was victorious. The Almighty grabbed my hand, but I pulled away. The Almighty grasped from my ankle, but I avoided God's touch. The Almighty lunged, but I was too nimble. I wrestled with God, and I was victorious. I ignored God's whispers. I ignored God's shouts. I ignored God's messages. I wrestled with God, and I was victorious. I saw injustice and avoided involvement. I saw bigotry, and I did not let its sorrow touch my soul. I saw what was right, and I turned away. I wrestled with God, and I was victorious. Every year my heart is hardened. Every year my garment becomes more soiled. Every year I promise to change, but the words are lost in inaction. I wrestled with God, and I was victorious. I was victorious. I defeated goodness, rationality, and my soul. I took my own path without regard to holiness. I wrestled with God, and I was victorious. But today is different. Today I am held. Today I am loved. Today I am forgiven. Today I pray and hope that God is the victor. The next 20 or 30 minutes is our gift to you. It's time just to sit, to relax, to hear a melody or two, and to do a little bit of meditation and some guided imagery exercises. So please find a way to feel your heart and your soul as fully as you can over the next 20 or 30 minutes. And now the Cantor will sing Return Again.
Return to the land of your soul. Return again. return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
Here we stand is the translation of Nitzavim, the name of today's Torah portion. So we're going to say the word here and then breathe in deeply. And then we're going to say the word we and exhale. And then we're going to breathe in and say the word stand. It goes like this. Here, breathe in. We, breathe out. Stand, breathe in. Here, breathe out. We, breathe in. Stand, breathe out. Here, breathe in. We, breathe out. Stand. Here. We. Stand. Here. We. Stand. Ni. Sa. Vim. Ni. Sa. Vim. Here. We. Stand. Continue to breathe in slowly and deeply as the Cantor sings Hashivenu.
Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Hashivenu Adonai elecha
Place your feet flat on the floor if you're able. We're going to do some guided imagery. Sit up tall and straight. Let your shoulders relax. If your eyes are not closed, you can let them close or just keep them slightly open, whatever is comfortable. And take that deep breath in like we wore before. Deep breath in and out. In and out. In and out. Continue breathing in slowly and deeply. If you can, feel the beat of your own heart. And on this deep breath in, take your hands and ball them to tight fists, closing them as tightly as you can. Deep breath in, holding those fists, and exhale and relax them. Another deep breath, clenching those hands. Tightly, tightly exhale and relax. One more time. Holding them tightly and then breathe out and relax. Let your hands sit gently in your laps. On this breath in, let your shoulder blades touch behind you. Deep breath in. Hold it for a moment and out. Another breath in and let your shoulder blades touch. And out. One more breath in and out. Let your chin touch your chest comfortably. And gently roll your head slightly to the left or to the right. And then back to center. And then roll it gently in the other direction. And back to center. At your own pace, roll it a little to one direction. And then the other. One direction. And the other. And now let your head come to rest in a comfortable position. Another deep breath in and out. Imagine yourself standing in a room facing a blank wall. You turn very slowly and another blank wall. You turn again and there is a window. Light pours through it, lands on the ground in front of you. You stand in the shadows of that room and you stare out the window. Someone approaches, someone who needs to ask you for forgiveness. It's someone you know. Who is this person? What does this person look like? What is this person wearing? What is your relationship to them? Take a moment and see them approach. The person's voice penetrates the window, and the person apologizes. What does this person apologize for? Take a moment and think. You step out of the shadows and into the light, and you respond. What words do you use? How do you forgive this person? Because you do forgive. Take a moment and forgive. And as you forgive, that window and that wall disappear, and you embrace the person in a hug or present your hand to them for a handshake, but you connect. And after the embrace, the person departs. How do you feel? Has your burden been lightened? Has your burden been lightened on this Yom Kippur? Another breath in and out. In and out. You can leave your eyes shut or slowly open them, but know that forgiveness frees you and anger imprisons you. Forgiveness allows you to make peace with others, with yourself, and to move forward with hope. And now, a song.
Create up your heart in me, Great Spirit. Create up your heart in me. Create up your heart in me, Great Spirit. Create up your heart in me and renew a true soul within me, and renew a true soul within, and renew a true soul within me, and renew a true soul within.
This concludes our meditation and reflection service. Thank you all for participating. We're going to take a 5-minute break now. We're going to be handing out Yizkor books, and we'll also be letting some additional people in. I apologize because this is the perfect mood to enter into Yizkor, and that's the goal of this service. But as we hand out books, some of the mood might be lost a bit. But if you need to remember and to reflect, try to create a little space around yourself to keep in that place. The Yizkor books will be given out now. If you have an aisle with extra seats, would you mind moving one direction or the other so we can see all the extra seats that are here? We are trying to fit everyone in comfortably. So if you have an extra seat, ask your aisle just to move so all the seats are at one end or the other. This would be wonderfully helpful. Lindsay, because we're running this continuously, correct? Could you throw up a little something that says Yizkor service? Ah, got it. Thank you. That way it'll pop up to people. If you do not have a Yizkor book, raise your hand and someone will get one to you. If you do not have a Yizkor book, and thank you to all the volunteers handing them out. And the staff. I got one. Can you throw up a 2-minute timer? Thanks. Sorry, I know, yeah. Well, let me talk. Book, and as I hear a phone go off, now's a great time to silence your phones. If we get the back doors closed now, thank you. If you're not familiar with our Yizkor book, which we call Zman Lizkor, A Time to Remember, we started creating these about, I don't know, guessing 5 or 6 years ago. We run a number of creative writing seminars. I do these with Alex Litvak, and we have some amazingly talented writers at this synagogue. And you'll see that throughout this are poems written by different congregants. And we have quite the stack of poems. We can't even fit them all in to one book anymore. So we rotate them in and out, and then we're also having our congregants create new ones. So feel free to take this book home with you if you'd like, because it does have a full prayer service in the back. It's designed for funerals, Yizkor, Shiva. It's also a good way to see how other people express their experiences with death and loss through the creative word, through the written word. So we come together for Yizkor 4 times a year. And yet, for some reason, the Yizkor that lands on Yom Kippur is the one that is the most heavily attended. Yet a week from Saturday, we're going to have another Yizkor for Sukkot. I believe it's at noon. And I can only say to all of you, you should come to that. Because our religion doesn't say, our Torah, our Rabbinic literature doesn't say, oh, come to Yizkor once a year at Yom Kippur. It says come 4 times a year. 4 times a year you should be lighting a Yizkor candle. Actually 5, because you also do it on the anniversary of the passing of your beloved. We're a people who believe in Lador Vador from generation to generation, but often we don't remember. Often we forget. And by coming to Yizkor 5 times a year, by having your list of names that you pass on to future generations of people they might never have met, well, it's a great way of remembering Lador Vador. I know that whenever I go home to Louisville, Kentucky, I take a walk through the cemetery, often by myself, and I wander the headstones, and I look for the names that I know were connected to me. And it's a beautiful thing that in Louisville, as they did in those days, 30, 40, 50 years ago, they put pictures on the headstones. And I get to go and look at the picture of my grandmother, my grandfather. I get to look at the pictures of other relatives. And I get to remember that from generation to generation, we are here because of the past. And then I begin to think about the stories of my relatives and how they made it to Louisville, Kentucky. How my grandfather actually worked for the circus, and that got him as far as Cincinnati. And then when he was in Cincinnati, he worked as a waiter. And then finally, he made it to Louisville, where he married my grandmother, and they opened a grocery store. In those days, those stores they only sold canned goods, because that's all they could afford to really buy to resell. And that my father and his 3 brothers and his parents lived above that little grocery store. We need to remember Lador Vador. We need to pass on our stories. It's not just enough coming to Yizkor on Yom Kippur. You need to come to Yizkor regularly, and then you need to go home and say to your children, your grandchildren, your cousin twice removed, did you ever hear about cousin so-and-so or uncle so-and-so and their journeys and their trips? Because that's how we really honor people. It's by remembering. So I'm going to turn to page 3. And Alex Litvak wrote this a number of years ago. And Alex is the gentleman with whom I teach the writing classes. Today we remember. We remember the faces of those we loved and lost, photographs in the albums of our lives. Some faded with age, others vivid, defying decay, all precious keepsakes. We remember the times we shared with them, moments big and small, that burned so bright they stayed with us throughout the years, like the light of distant stars that keeps shining long after they are gone. We remember their warmth, their wisdom, their kindness, all that was good in them. These qualities seem greater today, while their flaws that annoyed us so much when they were alive seem more trivial, easier to forgive. Perhaps love has a greater shelf life than anger. Or perhaps some things we can only see clearly and appreciate truly from a distance. We remember words heard and said, words we will treasure forever, and words we wish we could take back. If these people were here with us now, what would we say to them? What would we wish for them to say to us? It seems that out of millions of words in the human language, life boils down to 3. I love you. We remember their touch, their smile, how they made us feel when they were at their best. They have left behind a handprint on our hearts and forever changed our lives by being a part of them. In a way, we are them, their legacy, the evidence they mattered. Yesh Kochavim. Not in your book, but it will be sung by our choir.
There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us.
We are on page 7, Adonai Ma Adam. Let us read the English together. Adonai, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath, our days are as a passing shadow. We come and go like grass which in the morning shoots up renewed, and the evening fades and withers. You cause us to revert to dust, saying, "Return, O mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood where we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. They shall have peace. Adonai, you redeem the soul of your servants, and none who trust in you shall be desolate." Page 8. A memory, Kitchen Memories by Sandy Kalin. My grandmother's challah fresh out of the oven. My mother's strudel, the sweet smell of apples and cinnamon. My aunt's Hungarian goulash redolent with paprika. A neighborhood bakery, an open kitchen, the local ethnic restaurant. Walking to a meeting, mind focused on my work, an aroma hits me, transporting me back. I remember those comforting times, ensconced in a kitchen nook, enveloped in the aromas of my family. Those cooks of my childhood are gone now, but are forever in my heart, coming back to me in the aromas of the kitchen. Let's turn to page 10. Let us read responsively, and then we'll read the English together of the 23rd Psalm on the following page, and then it will be sung. So let's begin on page 10 responsively. Adonai Ro'i, God is my shepherd. Lo achsar, I shall not want. But right now we do want. We want the laughter, smiles, and spirits. Because our hearts are broken, because our lives will never be the same. The cycle of life and death makes no sense. Where is our shepherd? Where is God? Adonai Ro'i, God is my shepherd. Lo aksar, I shall not want.
But a shepherd cannot control life and death. A shepherd can only care for his flock as best he can. He can love them, attempt to protect them, but ultimately each life is lived by its own design.
Adonai Ro'i, God is my shepherd. Lo aksar, I shall not want.
Our shepherd has not left us. God is found in the hand that you are holding. God is found in the shoulder upon which you are crying. God is found in the comfort we each give to one another. God is found in memories. God is present not to shield us from pain, but to help us pass through it. God is my Ro'i. God is my shepherd.
Adonai Ro'i, God is my shepherd. Lo aksar, I shall not want. The bottom of page 11, the 23rd Psalm. Let us read it together. A Psalm of David. Adonai is my shepherd, I lack nothing. God makes me lie down in green pastures. God leads me to water in places of repose. God renews my life. God guides me in right paths, as befits God's name. Though I walk through a valley of deepest darkness, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread a table for me in full view of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My drink is abundant. Only goodness and steadfast love shall pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai for many long years. The 23rd Psalm, sung.
Adonai Ro'i lo exar binote sheyarbitzeni al mei menuchot yenaleini nafshi yeshovev yancheni b'mag letzedek yancheni b'mag letzedek leman shemo. Gam ki elech beget salmavet lo yirara ki atai maidi shivtecha ubishantecha emayena hamuni taroch lefanai shulchanei ketzorerai tishanta vashemen roshi kosi revayai ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai kol yemei chayai v'shavti beveit Adonai leorech yamim. Adonai Ro'i lo exar. Adonai Ro'i lo exar.
Page 12. I push the wheelchair into the sunlight. My father reaches up to kiss my cheek. We sit in silent camaraderie, the sun's warmth filtering through the trees, spring painting new leaves on branches, the scent of roses in the air. My father's labored breathing interrupts the bird-song melody. His eyes close as he turns inward. Our paths begin to diverge. Soon I will be alone in the garden, the breeze carrying the memory of his kiss. Eli, Eli, page 13. Please rise for the Yizkor prayer found on page 19. I'm going to recite this prayer. I'm going to take a pause after I say Yikarai, and you can quietly say the names of those you've come to remember today. And after a pause, I'll continue the prayer in English. And then I'm hoping the pianist will play a little music as we remember. And we'll take a few minutes while we're standing to remember those who have passed. And then as you're done remembering, you may be seated. Yizkor Elohim Nishmot Yikarai. The names now of those you are remembering. May God remember forever my dear ones who have gone to their eternal rest. May they be at one with the one who is life eternal. May the beauty of their lives shine forevermore. and may my life always bring honor to their memory. Amen. Please take a few moments for silent meditation.
Didn't I tell you I loved you? Didn't I tell you I cared? Didn't you know that you mattered? Wasn't it life that we shared? But time kept ticking, our lives kept slipping. Now that this journey is over, somehow it doesn't seem fair. I can't hold the wind, I can't slow the tide, I can't stop the rivers from flowing. I can't hold the tears, I can't slow the tide, I can't stop the seasons from coming and going. I hope that I told you I loved you. I hope that I showed you I cared. I hope you know that you mattered. What a great life we did share. What a great journey we shared.
We turn to page 27 for El Malay Rachamim. And this is the prayer where we speak to the feminine presence of God, that feminine aspect called the Shekhinah. And it even states the Shekhinah in the middle of the prayer. Because it's believed in mystical Judaism that God has 10 different aspects. And one of the aspects is the feminine. And that feminine aspect is the one that interacts with all of us, that gives us miracles, that cares for us, that comforts us during times of loss. And so we're now going to rise and we're going to read the English together. And then the Cantor is going to chant El Malay Rachamim. Together, fully compassionate God on high, to our loved ones who have entered eternity, grant clear and certain rest with you, and the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven, Source of mercy, forever enfold them in the embrace of your wings. Secure their souls in eternity. Adonai, they are yours. They will rest in peace. Amen.
El male rachamim, shochein b'amromim, chamtzei menucha nechona tachat kanfei השכינה עם קדושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים לנשמות יקיריני שהלכו לעולמם בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרור החיים את נשמתה אדוני הוא נחלתם וינוחו בשלום על משכבה ונאמר אמן.
We turn to page 45 for the Mourner's Kaddish. For every new generation there is one which ends, but they are never totally gone. They leave their memories and their influence on everything we do. How many things do we do because our great-grandparents did them, and our grandparents, and our parents? If we forget them, we lose part of ourselves. So we must remember them and honor them each day. This way we are united with our ancestors and with generations to come. Our heritage dictates a unique community which spans all ages. Please join me on page 45 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbi, v'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yimechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'galav v'zman kari v'imru, Yehei shmei Rabbi mevarak leolam olamei almaya, Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'richu, le'ela le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace to all who mourn, to all Israel, and to all humankind. And together we say, you may be seated. This concludes our Yizkor service. We'll begin in 5 minutes with our Neilah service. If you've never been to a Neilah service, it is one of the most spiritual of the entire Yom Kippur experience. And it doesn't last that long. Think twice before leaving. It's the best service. And those of you that are staying to the end, you get a special treat on the way out. I just stay for the goodie bag. Two minutes. Maybe I should see what I'm doing. If the choir could get to their choir seats, Katie. And the choir is moving forward. If everyone could grab a seat, please. You might have noticed we dimmed the lights a bit. The goal is to feel the end of day. So I do apologize if you needed a little bit more light for reading. It is a little bit more lit up front, or find yourself a light and sit underneath it. But feeling the presence of the day ending is important. If you have empty seats next to you, raise your hand so people know where you have extra seats. Okay, we got empty seats over here and here. So take a look as you're coming in. And if you see people coming in, wandering, wave at them. Thank you for raising your hands. I think we're good, though. There's a lot of space in the rows over here, guys. A lot of space over here. Alex, raise your hand again, because you got half a row there. A lot of space there and a lot of space there. Where are they going to sit with you, Bruce? On your lap? Oh, in front of you. Okay. Okay, let's not repeat the timer. It's on an infant. Huh? You can just turn it off. You just go into the timer setting and just click it and it'll go away. There you go. All right. Oh, wait, I'm missing a cantor, aren't I?
Yes.
I'll just tell a really long story. That's what you would expect. It's part of the job. It's like saying, I would expect a plumber to dig a ditch. Yeah, I figured. Yeah. I didn't realize that, though. Hey, Joel. Oh, no, here she comes. All right, I'm going to ask everyone to take a seat. If everyone could please take a seat, especially the people back by the tech table, because we want to keep them focused. If everyone could grab their seats. It is taught, or the Baal Shem Tov taught, that in the heavenly court there is no one who can judge you for what you have done in your life on earth. So this is what they do. They show you someone's life, all the achievements, all the failures, all the right decisions, all the wrong ones. And then they ask you, so what should we do with this somebody? And you give your verdict, and they accept it. And then, of course, they tell you that this somebody was you. Well, today, Yom Kippur, you have judged yourself. And of course, those who tend to judge others favorably have had a decided advantage. So perhaps we need to get into that habit now, to judge others kindly and gently, because that's the way we should be judged. So today we focus our energies on Tikkun Olam, Tikkun Mishpacha, Tikkun Nafshi, Tikkun Olam, the healing of the world, Tikkun Mishpacha, the healing of the family, and Tikkun Nafshi, the healing of the soul. Because today is a day of second chances. Because on this date we received the second set of tablets from God. On this day Noah saw dry land after 150 days on the water. This is the day we can move forward, new and renewed. And if you haven't fully focused on change and improvement, you still have the chance. You see, Yom Kippur is a reminder to reflect. But any day is a good day to check out your soul, to take a look at the story of your life. Adonai Oz, Adonai is my strength, and my Adonai will be my consolation. We'll now hear Ozi v'Zimrat Yah.
Ozi v'Zimrat Yah.
Join me on page 612. Let us read together. The long day is over and the gates are closing. Slowly day fades into dusk. Soon the earth will darken. Our bodies weak and weary, our inner strength undiminished. This day has been a gift, uncluttered time, free from hurry and routine, appointments or assignments. A time to face our sins and imperfections, our dreams and yearnings for the life we want to live. A time to leave the clamor of the world and attend to the voice within. Long ago, the temple gates were locked at dusk. So too, at this hour, the gates of Yom Kippur begin to close. Have we done all that needed to be done? Said everything that needed to be said? The gates of God's compassion never close, but soon enough our lives close in on us. Now in the silence of the soul, now before the holy day comes to an end, release the unshed tears, his prayers locked in our hearts. The bottom of page 613, Neilah. Again the day rolls into darkness. The sky spills its pinks and purples, draining to blackness. Deep inside there is a closing, a small gate swinging shut in the mind. Those few last thoughts rush through, and a life is sealed. Outside the temple, a lone bird sounds its call, waits for response. We continue on page 622 with the Amidah. The Amidah, this is the final time we will say it on this Yom Kippur. And it gives us a chance to both praise God and to thank God for all the blessings that we have, but also to ask God for kindness, for forgiveness, and for love. Let us rise. We are on page 622 with the Amidah.
Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufia ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu,
Elohei Avoteinu.
v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'anora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevi Geula, Livnei v'neihem, Ava.
Sovereign God who treasures life, seal us in the book of life. For your sake, God of life.
Gibor leolam Adonai Mechaye kol ata Rav lehoshia. Mechankel chaim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofeh cholim, umatir asurim. Umekayem emunato mishnei afar. Mi chamocha bal gevurot umi dome lach melech meimid umchayei umatzmiach Yeshua. Mi chamocha el harachamim zocher yetzurav lechaim lechaim berachamim berachamim v'nemanata lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hakol.
We continue silently, pages 628 through 639. You may be seated when you're done with your silent prayer. Bithulu lanu, sharei sedek. Please join me on page 646. Let us read the English on 646 and 648 together. Moses prayed to God, "As you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now, in keeping with your boundless love. Adonai, Adonai, God compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to the 1,000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, and granting pardon." And God responded, "I forgive as you have asked. Forgive us, Avinu, for we have strayed. Pardon us, Malkenu, for succumbing to sin. You are generous in granting forgiveness, all loving to those who reach out to you. Adonai, Adonai, God compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving, and true, showing mercy to the 1,000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, and granting pardon. O God and God of our fathers and our mothers, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement." We continue on page 653. I'd like you all to rise. We are now going to do the Ashamnu, the short confessional, as we've been doing for the last 24 hours. We will read it in English together, and then the Cantor will chant it, and we will repeat after her. Let's take our fists, place them over our hearts. Of these wrongs we are guilty. We betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely, we are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander, we devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes, we are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill, we spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. In a moment, the choir will begin singing Ilu Finu, Hu Eloheinu, and Pit Chuli. And during these moments, I'm going to place a Torah over here and open the ark. And if you would like to come forward and have a quiet moment with the Torah, please do. But stop at all 3 points. It does take quite a while if everybody just wants to be at the ark. But once again, it is your choice where to stop if you want to come up. But if you'd like to have that private moment before Yom Kippur ends, you will have it as the choir sings. So the ark is now opened, and the choir can begin in just one moment. Let me take out our Torahs. It actually stays like that. I'm going to put the 2 Holocaust Torahs out. No, that's too heavy. Can you get up there and use the bricks to balance it? We're going to try to create one-way flow coming in this direction. The choir can now begin. And if you need to sit at any point, sit, even if the ark is open, please. Anyone planning on coming forward, please do. Now's the time to do it. Not to walk between the choir and just come down this aisle, because they do need to work right now. Go to any of the Torahs you'd like. You can jump the line and go in that direction. I did put a step out if you want to walk down the center upon exits.
שער הצדק אבובם Hodea Pituli Sharet Tzedek Havova Hodea Zeh Hashar Ladonai Sadikim Yavovo Zeh Hashar Ladonai Sadikim Yavovo Pituli Sadat Tzedek Avovam Hadea Pituli Sadat Tzedek Avovam Hodea Zeh Hashar Ladonai Sadikim Yavovo Zeh Hashar Ladonai Sadikim Yavovo
Wayne, when you get a chance over here. You're good. As the last people are coming forward, we're going to turn to page 662. If you're able, please rise. If you're not, then just stay seated. That's also fine. We're moving on to our final Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, our parent, our sovereign. We speak in metaphor. In images, we understand. We want an external voice to forgive us, but that voice of forgiveness is inside each one of us, inside of our hearts. As a community, we can be heard. We can fight against sickness, war, and famine. We can end depression. Together, we can write a book of life where life is respected, where the world is a better place for all. And now, join me in Avinu Malkeinu. Let us read the English together. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and merciful, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it. Avinu Malkeinu, act for the sake of your boundless compassion. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, seal us in the book of sustenance and livelihood. Avinu Malkeinu, seal us in the book of worthiness and merit. Avinu Malkeinu, seal us in the book of forgiveness and pardon. Avinu Malkeinu, seal us in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, seal us in the book of redemption and renewal. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, renew us for a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, we have no sovereign but you. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace when our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'anenu, ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'choshi einu. The choir will now sing.
See
close the ark. You may be seated. We are on page 670. We stand as one before the gates of a new year, renewed by this day of atonement, made stronger by all who are with us and by those whose presence we feel within. As the long day fades into dusk, we join our voices in words of hope and dedication. Pitchu lanu sharei tzedek, navo vam nodeh yah. Open for us the gates of righteousness. There we may enter and praise the eternal source of life. Together, the bottom half of the page. Open for us the gates of sacred community, that we may enter and feel its healing power. Open for us the gates of truth and integrity, that we may enter and grow in faithfulness. Open for us the gates of devotion and principle, that we may enter and find enduring values and meaning. Open for us the gates of repentance and return, that we may enter the gates of forgiveness, that we may enter and offer our humanity. Open for us the gates of kindness and compassion,
that we may enter and offer our love.
As the Sabbath of Sabbath ends, we say from the heart, living source, you are ours, we are yours. From beyond time and space, you hold out your hand to receive us. Living source, you are ours, we are yours. You are the sovereign of remembrance, the voice of holiness. Your presence lights the way. Living source, you are ours, we are yours. Shema Yisrael, hear the shofar, witness to history, thunders to our souls. Living source, you are ours, we are yours. Happy are those who love the sound of the shofar, its mystic chords of memory. Living source, you are ours, we are yours. Hear the shofar, hear its cry of freedom, its call of courage. Cherish its promise of hope. If you're part of our shofar choir or you brought your shofar, I'd like you to come forward at this time. If you have your shofar, please come forward at this time onto the stage. We are on page 672. After we do page 672, we'll move into the shofar calls. Please come forward. Make a nice straight line behind us would be great. Now, Cantor, page 672, please. Ready, guys? Tekiah! Shevarim! Trua! Tekiah Gidolah! L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. May we spend next year in Jerusalem. And now it's time for Havdalah. And because at every event, at every holy moment, I can have you guys return to your seats. At every holy moment, we have to separate the holy from the ordinary. And we do that with Havdalah. I'd like everyone to rise as we begin our Havdalah ceremony. It has 3 symbols. It has the sweet taste of grape juice, the sweet smell of spices, and the candlelight. Candlelight that is similar to the candlelight that we began with just 24 hours ago. Cantor Havdalah. Put your arms around one another. A little swaying. We have this beautiful challah that's been sitting protected from all of you in this plastic bag. And now we'll take away the protection. And now we're going to say the Hamotzi. Here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
Give someone a kiss, a hug, wish them Shana Tova, then come get a bite of the challah, and then get a snack on your way out. I think we have bag snacks.
Oh, me too. I love to. Oh, I hope so.
Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'achod Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'achod Yisrael. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav.